Plum Jam. First take a bowl of ripe plums. Wash them carefully. Slice into small pieces and remove the stones from the centre. Add a splash of cold water and heat gently for 5 minutes to soften the fruit. Add a cup of sugar and heat gently for 2 minutes to dissolve the sugar. Now turn up the heat and heat vigorously for 10 minutes. Be careful not to burn the jam. Turn off the heat and check if it's set by putting a spoonful on a cold plate and looking at the consistency. If it's set, turn off the heat, otherwise heat for another minute. Add a knob of butter to stop a froth forming on the top. Let the jam cool, then pour it into a sterilised glass jar. It's delicious, served with a warm scone. Hello everyone, my name's Misbah. Welcome back to another video. So we're in the middle of September now and there's a feeling of autumn outside, and I thought a good book to recommend this week was Quartet in Autumn by Barbara Pym. So Barbara Pym is one of my favourite writers. She has this gentle observational comedy in the style of Jane Austen, and I really love her books. This book is quite sombre and it has a melancholic feel to it. It's set in the 1970s and it's about 4 people who work together in an office in London, and they're in their 60s. There are 2 women and 2 men. The women retire at the beginning of the book and the men are very close to retirement. And I think the book is a study of loneliness and what it's like to have a job that's not really very fulfilling, and then to be on your own and to face sort of life after work and life in retirement and how to fill your days. And Barbara Pym makes the characters seem real because she shows us their sort of foibles and their faults, and we connect with them. But there's also a dark humour, so there's also little comic phrases as well. So the 4 people are 2 women, Letty and Marcia. So Letty was very attractive when she was younger and she thought she would marry, and she now has this wistful
feeling of that life has passed her by and she's missed out. She is unmarried and she lives in a bedsit, and it's very difficult to know how to fill your days when you don't have very much money and you're you're trying to just get by. Marcia lives in her parents' house. Her parents have died and she's unmarried, and at the beginning of the book she just seems eccentric. So, for example, she hoards milk bottles because she remembers that in the war, if you couldn't present a milk bottle, then you didn't get your milk ration. And so she now hoards hundreds of milk bottles. She goes out to the shops and buys lots of tinned goods, but she then hoards it and she doesn't want to open any of the tins and break into any of her supplies. But as the book goes on, we realise that she's actually very troubled, and there's a crisis at the end. The two men are Norman and Edwin. Norman is unmarried, lives in a bedsit and doesn't have very much money, and he doesn't seem to have any friends. He has a brother-in-law that he visits, but he covers up his loneliness with sarcasm, and he can't seem to connect with the life and he can't seem to connect with young people. And he's just an angry man. So he's angry when he sees people throwing litter, and he just it seems this very angry, lost character. Edwin is a widower, and he lives in the house that he shared with his wife. His children have grown up and left, and he fills his covers up his loneliness and fills his days with church duties, so he goes there. So we glimpse into the lives of these four people. We dip in and out of their lives, and their stories are connected by the fact that they work together. At the end of the book, there is a crisis that brings them together, and there's a hopeful ending, because the characters realise that they actually have choices and they don't have to just accept life as it is, and they can make a choice and affect their own future. So there is a positive, not a fairy tale happy ending, but a positive, hopeful ending. I really enjoy reading this book, and I recommend it as a lovely book to read in autumn. So Quartet in Autumn by Barbara Pym. So in this part of my video, I'll share a visit to a garden centre. It's called Not Cuts, and it's quite a large garden centre. It has a clothes section, and it also sells gifts. And then there's a farm shop which sells cakes and jams and so on. The plants are always really healthy there, and they also change the displays seasonally. So I'm going to show you their beautiful autumn displays. And I'll let you watch the video first, and then I'll show you what I bought from the garden centre. So now I'll share what I bought from the garden centre. So the first thing I bought was a bag of perlite. It's like very fine gravel. I've not used it before, but I've seen Monty John use it on Gardener's World, and I thought I would give it a try. So you mix a handful of this perlite with compost, and it's supposed to improve drainage. So I thought, because my soil's clay and it gets quite waterlogged, so I thought I would give that a try. The second thing that I bought was a dahlia. So even though I've grown other dahlias from tubers, I've bought this because I was attracted to the very dark foliage. It's got leaves that are almost black. They're a deep purple, and it's called Mountain of Fire. So it will have these bright red flowers, and I bought a dahlia called the Bishop of Llandaff 3 years ago from Bodnant, and it's doing really well, and every year I get this, it's similar to this, I get these beautiful red flowers and this stunning dark foliage. So I'm hoping that if I can overwinter this successfully, then next year I'll have a matching pair. So this was $12.99, but it was in the 70% sale, and there was quite a lot of other plants that were reduced. So it's a good time to go to the garden centre when the sales are on. And it looked a really healthy plant. Sometimes the plants that are reduced are virtually dead. So yeah, I can enjoy the foliage, and then if I overwinter it successfully, I should have a dahlia next year. So I'm going to finish my video by sharing with you a rainy day walk. The weather, it's been on and off. We've had rain, and it's still quite warm, and it's still quite pleasant to go out walking, but we've had rain on and off all week here in Manchester. And I think you've just got to get on with it. You've got to take a brolly and get out there and just enjoy being out in the fresh air. So I'll finish by sharing that with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.